about the AFC South. So I think
there's a history in this league.
Brought him up.
That's an example.
So
I didn't want to
finish
make him
this.
the subject.
For those who believe, for those who are ready.
you have no idea what song.
I have no idea what song it is.
It's a hot song right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, today is Friday, January 31st, 2025. It is the Doug Serrato Show, which is brought to you by our good friends at Unsolicited Role Models, the role models you may not want, but the role models you may not want, but you may just need. All right, so last time we discussed the Super Bowl. This was yesterday. We discussed the Super Bowl logo conspiracies. So today, Jimbo, I want to discuss, and this is our debate portion of the show. So, if you think of any team throughout professional sports that did not win a championship together, what team comes to your mind? Because for me,
that hasn't won together.
yeah, it hasn't won together. Could even be current.
Like you say, as like the city and everything, like the state or
The city, the team, the trio. Like for me, it would be Vince Carter, Richard Jefferson, and Jason Kidd, New Jersey Nets.
Nets.
I felt like that when VC was in his prime, they played great basketball. He played great basketball. He brought energy, and he brought so much great things to that Izod Center, Continental Airlines Arena. I would go to those games, and it would be they would be on fire. Every time Vince Carter hit a three, VC3 from Gary Sussman. Those net teams were very good from the early 2000s to like 2007, 2009. Yeah. I felt like they had that core in piece. They had that core in place. You know, they had the pieces in place. They could have won a championship together, but they didn't. Close. They came close against the Spurs. No, because VC wasn't there when they went to the final against the Spurs in 02 and 03.
Yeah, it was Kidd and somebody else.
So I felt like those Nets teams should have won a championship together. They could have won a championship together. And, you know, you can even bring up the KD teams with Durant.
The Supersonics?
Durant, Russell, D'Angelo Russell, Harden, Irving. Everyone had high expectations for them, but they didn't win anything.
With OKC and everything?
No, with Brooklyn.
Oh, with them three, yeah.
You could even make up that argument with the Thunder, the Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. They should have won a championship together,
and everything,
but they didn't. So, what comes to your mind? What team do you think of?
There's one team in basketball I'm thinking of too. I think it was the New York Knicks when they had Carmelo Anthony, R.J. Smith.
Oh yeah, the 11-12. That was probably the best Knicks team.
Strummond. I said his name.
Amari
Stoudemire. That team was stacked, and they couldn't. But also that time, they go against the Miami Heat the entire time. Like they got past the first round.
The LeBron, Ray Allen,
Bosh and Wade. Like that team was more stacked than anything, and that was the problem. Like they probably could have got far, but they always had to play them. The second round always had to play them, and they were good. That was like Melo's prime and everything. That team could have won. And they won like close games too and everything.
Even to the Aaron Rodgers Green Bay Packers,
they were always consistent.
They were always consistent. They were always there. They just didn't get the job done.
Well, especially when they had to play like San Fran or like
Tampa Bay that one year.
Yeah, with Tom Brady.
The Giants upset them a few times.
Yeah, like it was just more or less San Fran. It was like Colin Kaepernick, and then it was Brock Purdy or Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, they've gotten
Like,
they got beat by the Niners.
yeah, it was more or less their defense and everything, but like that too. I could even say the killer bees with Pittsburgh when they had Bell, Brown, and Ben. That offense was fantastic. It was the number one offense for like the entire like 3 to 4 years they were together, or how long they were together for. And they could have won a Super Bowl, but it was always with Tom Brady in the goddamn way.
Yeah.
Tom Brady was always in that way.
So where I want to get into this conversation is I think of a team that was close. So what if Brett Favre never threw that interception to Tracy Porter? Do we think, well, before we get into that conversation, even the 2009, 2010 Jets, they could have been a team that won a Super Bowl.
Oh, when they lost to the Colts and the Steelers?
Yeah. So where I want to get to in this conversation is, could the Minnesota Vikings have won a Super Bowl versus that Indianapolis Colts team in 2009? If Brett Favre never threw that interception to Tracy Porter.
I think I want to say because I think they were the exact same team at the exact same time. Their defense was phenomenal and their offense was great too, by two veteran quarterbacks. Breeze was a veteran quarterback at the time. He was in the league for a while before he went to New Orleans, and then Brett Favre was a veteran quarterback. And I think everybody was picking Minnesota to win the Super Bowl that year, but could they beat I don't know. Because the Colts were like that silent team that nobody really thought they were going to go.
I think they started like 9. I believe they started like 9-0 with Jim Caldwell. Yeah, they were like 14-2 with Jim Caldwell.
Yeah. Oh, the Minnesota or
no,
the Colts?
The Colts.
Yes, they were like a quiet team going into there. Like, it was more or less like I was so hyped about the Jets going into there, but Colts are like the veteran team that knew what they're doing. I don't know if they would have beat Peyton Manning. I think Peyton Manning would have had a second ring at that point. So who knows? That's a good question, honestly. It's very good.
So would the Colts have won either way? Because I felt like the Saints made them look like a disaster of a team.
Towards the end, well, you know what all predicated on? The offside kick. To begin the second half.
All right, let's take a look. I want to see the score and like the box score for
this.
this.
Go for like the first half.
All right, because this was Super Bowl 44.
Because I think it was like 17-7.
All right, we're gonna look at the box score.
But I think it was like 17-7 going into the third.
Because the final was 31-7.
Right. 31-7.
No, 31-17.
Oh, okay.
My bad.
So then, what was like their score going into like? That'd be weird. I don't know.
Because the Saints, if you include the playoffs, the Saints and Colts had the same record, 16-3.
Wow.
So to start off that game, the Colts had a 10-0 lead.
Okay.
At the end of 2 quarters, it was 10-6.
And
then the third,
the Colts were getting the ball back.
Yeah. Then they weren't expecting an onside kick.
Yeah, so that changed the whole thing.
Yeah, they outscored. The Saints outscored Indianapolis 25-7 the last 2 quarters.
Yeah, so they could.
So that onside kick really changed
the whole
everything.
direction of that game, because I think if they didn't pick it up, I think the Colts could have won that Super Bowl.
Because I just feel like. Yeah, it was 3-0, then 10-0, then 10-3, then 10-6, then 13-10, then 17-13, 17-16, 24-17, 31-17. I just felt like that Vikings team was the better team than the Saints. I could be wrong, but from my opinion, I felt like the Vikings should have won that Super Bowl.
Yeah, but Brett Favre made too many mistakes.
Yeah, he made too many mistakes.
Same with Peyton Manning.
He turned over the ball.
I didn't say to Peyton Manning because he made too many mistakes. So he had to play catch up. That was the problem too. But if you're saying if you're saying the Jets would have beat the Colts, I don't know if they would have beat the Saints.
I don't think so either.
Because Mark Sanchez is not a bad quarterback, but he's not.
He's average. He's
average. Like I think he was decent with X Ryan, and the defense would have played well. But I think they were too reliant on that defense.
Mm-hmm.
And at least with the Saints offense, they could go down and score.
Yeah. All right, so the Vikings were 12-4 that year. They ranked second of 32 for Points for 29.4 points per game.
Wow.
Points against 312. They're ranked 10th.
That's top 10 of like, wow, that's really
Top
good.
10 for both.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, demolished the Cowboys in the divisional round 34-3, and then they lost to the Saints 31-28.
Yeah, 'cause
I feel like that was if you look at prior years for the Vikings,
that was
the last few playoff appearances
that was
they
the
had.
best year for them.
I felt like 2009 should have been their year to win the Super Bowl
Yeah,
because the following year
they didn't make the. They didn't make the.
they
playoffs.
went 6-10.
Yeah,
Brett Favre was injury prone. He was basically
done.
They fired Brad Childress. They were 3-7.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie Frazier took over, and they went 3-3. But you go from the second best offense
to like last.
to 29th, 17 points per game, 2081.
Yeah,
The Vikings, I felt like that was their missed opportunity.
Look,
That year was the one that got away.
yeah. So if you look at the Rams when they won the 2021 Super Bowl, or I think it was 2021, 22, whatever it was. Look at the following year. They were bad. They were horrible.
Mhm.
Like they weren't that good. And now like, and we were there were talks where, Sean McVay didn't even want to like be the head coach anymore.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
But like now they could look like a playoff team. Like they're always in the playoffs.
They're always there.
They're always in the first or second round. They always
Mhm.
make it. So I think it's now trying to get over the hump.
And then 2011, they went 3-13, Minnesota.
Yeah, and it, one year where they went like 9-7 or whatever it was. That was the year AB
Yeah.
came back. Adrian Peterson came back and won MVP.
So I look at that 2009 season.
Mhm.
I know the Saints were on a run.
Yeah.
They were on a mission to win. But I just feel like Minnesota should have won that year. I feel like Minnesota was the better team, and Brett Favre cost them that chance. That
Yeah.
turnover, that intercept, I think there was like 17 seconds on the clock, and it was 3rd and 15.
Mm-hmm.
He should have just ran out of bounds. He threw the ball away. Brett Favre cost Minnesota a Super Bowl that year, and I don't think the Colts were the best team in the league that year. Just
And AFC wise,
yeah, AFC wise, I get they went 16-3.
who well they had to be 14-2 at least.
Yeah, they were 14-2 regular season wise.
And that's really good though. Honestly, they're what, number one?
All right, let's take a look. Actually,
Yeah, because you can't really say that if they weren't that good. If the Colts were like dominated that whole AFC side.
all right, let's take a look at the
And look
stand wise.
and look who they played though too. Like, let's see who they played in the playoffs.
All right, I think the Colts played the Steelers and the Jets.
I don't think they played the Steelers at all.
All right, 2009 NFL season. Super Bowl was the Saints and the Colts.
Yeah, I know they played the Jets in the championship game.
All right, let's take a look at this postseason bracket. All right, so the Patriots went 10-6, Jets 9-7, Bengals went 10-6, Ravens went 9-7, Colts went 14-2.
Yeah, so they had to bye.
Finished the season off on a 2-game losing streak. Chargers went 13-3 that year.
Oh wow, they were really good.
So if we look at the postseason bracket,
So who did the Colts play?
the Colts,
Because they get the first round bye, correct?
yeah. The Colts played Baltimore. They won 20-3. Then they played the Jets and they won that 30-17.
Yeah.
Um,
So I mean, you can't really say that they were the best team when they were 14-2, and so that means the Ravens beat the Chargers.
Ravens beat the Patriots.
And who beat the Chargers then?
The Chargers had the second round. The Chargers had the bye. They were the 2 seed.
So then that means the Jets beat the Chargers.
Yeah, the Jets defeated the Bengals 24-14.
That much,
Jets defeated the Chargers 17-14.
wow, it was a close game.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think in that AFC, I don't think the Indianapolis Colts was the best team. That you look at
14-2 to 13-3.
yeah, but based the way they played, I think the Chargers were the better team.
And if you look at it,
because the Saints, after that onside kick
it was,
that the Saints did, the Colts look completely lost.
yeah,
I think the Jets could have beaten
but
that Colts team.
I think the Jets would have done the same thing though too. They would have done the same thing that the Colts did because like You're not suspecting that or anything.
No, you're not.
That was
but I don't.
all Sean
Peyton.
Payton's like whole thing that like predicated on. If that didn't happen, we would probably say that Peyton Manning is a 3-time Super Bowl champion.
We could, but do we think the Saints were the better team? I don't think so. I think Minnesota was, honestly.
But, so then you're saying the Colts were a better team, though?
I don't think
So
so.
the Colts went 14-2. They dominated the
Yeah, but I feel like that's what, like
Ravens.
you could say like that's the Colts, not the Colts, but the Chiefs of this year. Lucky they're 15-2, but they're not really 15-2.
Yeah, but I would look at their whole schedule, who they beat. That's more or less what I look at. They only have 2 losses, and you said it was the last 2 weeks
Yeah,
of the
last
regular
2 games
season.
of the season.
So that tells me that they were probably the last week they already locked up
All right,
everything.
let's take a look at this.
Because this is 09?
Yeah,
All right, so
2009. They were
Patriots
14-2.
good. Cincinnati was good that season. Baltimore was good that season. Just tell me who they played.
All right, their schedule.
Start from week 1 to whatever.
All right, so they beat Jacksonville 14-12. That was the first game.
Okay.
Second game, they beat the Dolphins 27-23.
Okay.
Cardinals 31-10.
Okay.
Seahawks 34-17.
Okay.
Titans 31-9. Then the following week after the bye, the Rams 42-6. The Niners 18-14. Texans 20-17. Patriots 35-34. Ravens 17-15. Texans 35-27. Titans 27-17. Denver 28-16. Jaguars 35-31. So again, most of these wins, you could say they're one possession games. Jacksonville 14-12.
Yeah.
Miami 27-23. Patriots 1 point. Texans 3 points. Niners 4 points.
Well, a lot of them were like divisional games too, so they're always going to be tight.
Yeah, they lost to the Jets 29-15
Wow.
and Buffalo 30-7.
I forgot that's the one they didn't play the divisional rounds at the end.
And that year Buffalo went 6-10.
But that was probably also because they're telling me they went on a 14-0 run.
Yeah, and they lost to 2 AFC East teams.
Yeah, so I don't think it really mattered because they already locked up the division.
Yeah, they had
locked
home
up the
field,
division and locked up the number 1. So they're probably like,
but then you also have the Chargers at 13-3, and they lost to a Jets team that barely snuck in.
yeah. Or because maybe already at the point where they went 14-0 and they already had 3 losses, mathematically says you already got the number 1 seed.
Like if we look at Super Bowl 59, if somehow the Eagles dominate the Chiefs and make the Chiefs look lost, then you could say the same thing, that the Kansas City Chiefs, the 2024 Kansas City Chiefs were the same thing, was the same thing as the 2009 Indianapolis Colts. It could be
Yeah.
the same storyline.
Well, yeah, like we say, it's going to be different.
Like I think Buffalo would have beaten this Eagles team in the Super Bowl.
I don't know about that.
Just like I think the Minnesota could have beaten the Colts in that Super Bowl. Because it was a low-scoring game, but then the Saints opened it up.
Yeah, but I don't think Minnesota would have done what they did. Like, it all predicates on an offside kick. So I don't think they would have done that. They would have kept the game like
So do the Colts win if there's no onside kick?
probably. Because they had to play catch up towards the end, and you're gonna make mistakes, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have been a mistake. Like, he would have done it. I think he would have been, Peyton Manning would have been perfectly fine. He would have got to his players and everything, and they probably would have won. But who knows? It's a what if.
Yeah.
Because we can say all these things like, oh, they were a better offense, which they probably were a better offense than compared to Drew Brees. Defensively, they're probably better too, because half the games you said to me were defensive games, like low-scoring games.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the playoff games. If they beat Baltimore, they only scored, 9 points, whatever it was, blah, blah, blah. And then the Jets, the team they lost to, only let them score 9 to 10 points, whatever it was. That tells me that defense was, pretty damn good.
Because Peyton Manning won MVP that year.
Yes. Of course. When you go 14-2, of course you deserve it. But it's crazy that his best year.
And that wasn't even his best numbers.
No, it was when it was on the Denver Broncos when it was his first year, and then the year after, I think, when he was dropped like 50 touchdowns.
The Saints won the Super Bowl, but I think it was just based on matchup. I wouldn't say they were the best team to win it.
Who, the Saints?
Yeah, just like I wouldn't say the Giants were the best team to win their Super Bowls. I just think it was
the
based on
Patriots.
matchup.
Yeah. That's what it is, too. Because they're going to change up their scheme and everything when you play. Because this is a new opponent to them. So, they're going to do their scheme, and it's how you change and adapt their scheme.
Saints had the best offense. Yeah, they ranked number 1, 510 points. But their defense was 20th.
Yeah. So Peyton Manning could take advantage of it, but then it's like your defense needed to lock in.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say the Saints was the best team to win the Super Bowl.
Team. Yeah. But I think it's also momentum going into there.
Oh, yeah, that's how the playoffs work.
Yeah, like we always say, whoever has a better momentum going into those playoffs, the Saints had a better momentum going into there.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first time going into there after a long time. And then with a new quarterback that we all didn't think that was going to be great when he was on the Chargers. And Sean Payton was like, I'll take you. And then runs into the promised land, wins one, and it's dominant. And could have went to a Super Bowl a couple times, but stuff happens. That Holden Cole, that should have been Holden Cole. Because I feel like if the Saints would have went to the Super Bowl that year against the Patriots, I think the Saints would have won that one.
Yeah.
It's like the same thing. What if the Saints got into there with the Rams? That was a defensive.
Yeah.
That was a defensive game, but the Saints' offense was so much better.
Like, what about the 2006 Chargers? They went, 14-2, and they lost to the Patriots?
Yeah. And I think it was in San Diego, I believe. Or no, it was in New England, I believe.
It was in San Diego. So there's a lot of teams out there
they were the best offense. They were number 1 offense. We had LaDainian Thompson, Antonio Gates.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they were the better offense. But like I said, it comes down to momentum. But I think it also comes down to your head coach.
Yeah.
Belichick changed the scheme up. He knew what they wanted to do. He changed it. Like we always talk about Tom Brady being the best quarterback, but also it comes down to it, your defensive schemes and how your coach is and how you change and adapt. So that's why Belichick deserves, like, we all, with Brady and stuff, but Belichick deserves his flowers and everything too, because he was the better head coach. He always changed his schemes up for any player. Like he knew he was better in every aspect.
Yeah, because that year the Colts defeated the Chicago Bears in the Super Bowl, 29-17.
That was what the
Colts went 12-4.
2000 Super Bowl or
2006.
2006.
Year 2007.
Yeah.
And then the following year the Giants won, and then I think the Steelers won.
The Steelers won,
and then the Saints won. So there's a lot of teams out there that could have and should have won Super Bowls, but they just fell short.
Well, we can always say that too. It's like, cause we could say about the Rams and Bengals Super Bowl. The Bengals had the more momentum going to that Super Bowl because they beat the better team. They beat the Chiefs. They were the better team.
And they were down, 21-3?
I think
Joe
so.
Shiesty comes in clutch.
Yeah. But
even to the 2015 Mets, I thought they were a good team to win the
they were the best team
to win the World Series.
But Kansas City just had
it was Kansas City's year.
Yeah, it was their year because they went back. They went 2 years. They lost one, and then they won it the following year because they were like better. They were finally ready. And then the following year after that, guess who won the World Series? The Cubs.
Yeah, 108-year wait.
Yeah.
Like, what's that one team that could? You think of the 2016 Warriors, 73-9.
Yeah.
All these teams out there that could have won a championship and missed out.
Well, they choked that one away because
3-1 lead. I mean,
that's probably the best story.
Best storyline.
And any championship, any sport, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to say, they're down 3-1, and they just reverse sweep them.
Yeah.
That made them go get KD.
Mm-hmm.
That made them go get KD and everything, and that started their dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
They won what, two reigns?
Yeah, 2 in a row.
2 in a row, and they were going for 3.
Yeah,
but then
Toronto
they lost
to Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when it comes to championships, it's 7-game series is a lot different than a Super Bowl. I think a Super Bowl is all about the matchup. compared to a 7-game series, and
Because if you're playing 7 games, you're
you
learning
could
how the
adjust
opponent-
and you could change the way things are.
Yes, you're learning the opponent better. That's why it's like for baseball and like hockey and like basketball, it more sense of who your matchup is and everything who you're playing.
Mhm.
With football, it's one and only.
One and done.
One and done.
One and done.
And that's it.
All right, thank you for joining us on this episode of the Doug Saravo Show, which is brought to you by Unsolicited Role Models, the role models you may not want, but you may just need. We hope to see you guys next Thursday where we preview Super Bowl 59. We will see everybody then. Take care and have a good one.